It was the first play that my parents had seen me in. My dad was very, very, very proud of me. He came up to me after the show and he was like, "Akosua, you are so good." The show that changed my life, I would have to say, was the first show that I did out of theater school called The Middle Place. It was written by Andrew Kushner and directed by Alan Dilworth, and we did it at SummerWorks in 2009. It was a verbatim play about a homeless shelter in Rexdale. It was created by Andrew Kushner, who had gone into the homeless shelter and did a series of interviews with the residents there and some of the case workers, some of the social workers there. And from those interviews, he transcribed the interviews into this amazing play. I played Callie, who was a resident, and then I also played Dee, who was a social worker. And it was interesting that I was playing those two people because it felt like my my world, my real life was kind of meshing with my artistic life at that time, because before I had started my journey as an actor, I actually studied to be a social worker at Humber College for 2 years. And then also growing up in the neighborhood of Rexdale and understanding sort of how difficult it is to be in that neighborhood and to feel like you're not getting as many opportunities as other people. So to have those experiences inside me and then being able to draw on those experiences to put into these two different characters that I was playing was something that I hadn't experienced yet. And it was amazing. You know, when you leave theater school, you don't really have a lot of confidence, or for me anyways. It was very difficult because a lot of the work that we were doing in classes were, you know, very Eurocentric, and I didn't really resonate with it, didn't really speak to my own lived experiences. And here I was outside of theater school working on a play that was created with people who lived in my neighborhood. Because at the time I lived in Rexdale. I grew up in Rexdale. So the voices that I was reading, you know, in this play were voices that were so familiar to me. And it was also the first play that my parents had seen me in. They had had a lot of reservations about me becoming an actor, especially my dad. And so up until that point, they had never seen me in a show. And then after they saw me in that show, they sort of gave me their blessing. My dad was very, very, very proud of me. And he came up to me after the show and he was like, "Akosua, you are so good. You were so good." He said, "Everybody was good, but you were so good." And so that gave me the blessing that I needed to do this. The Middle Place showed me what it means to work on things that are meaningful. So that kind of sort of set the bar for me in terms of the power of what we do, and what my sort of goal or mission as an actor and as a storyteller is, which is, you know, to facilitate, I think it's to facilitate healing by authentically and honestly telling my story through the characters that I'm given to play. I've been very fortunate in my career to have been a part of projects and plays that allow me to be in spaces with people who look like me, that allow me to tell stories that come from my community. A lot of artists of color don't often get a chance to have those be the majority of the body of work that they do. You know, usually it's like, you know, you get one Black show a season and you're like, yes, I'm in it, you know. But I've been fortunate that like majority of my career has been telling Black stories or telling stories that are meaningful and impactful and allow me to use everything that I know about, you know, being a human being in this world. So I'm very, very grateful.